If you pay property taxes in your home or business, this show is for you. It's the Property Tax Show with Brad Hayes, Chicagoland's property tax expert on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back. This is Brad Hayes, and on the phone with me is Senator Jim Oberweis. Senator, we were talking about private sector and versus the union or public unions, and you seem to think that maybe our governor might be able to balance things out a little bit better now than previous governors.
Well, that's not quite what I said. What I said is I believe he is doing what he believes is in the interest of taxpayers, not his own reelection, and that is a change from prior administrations. It doesn't mean that he's going to be successful in doing that. Mr. Madigan has resisted every single attempt, every compromise that the governor has offered, every attempt to move forward to provide these reforms so that we can get a budget and help the people in need of our help throughout the state of Illinois. But until Mr. Madigan makes some move, it's impossible for the governor to go any further without damaging the future prospects for the state of Illinois.
Yeah, it's very difficult when there's one or two people that can hold this thing up. And you would think that Mr. Madigan, after all these years and seeing what's happening to Illinois and then the businesses and people are moving out, that he would come to his senses and we could change some of these things.
It's absolutely incredible. It's really a shame that he's putting his own campaign cash interests ahead of the interests of the taxpayers of Illinois. Something has to happen to change that. Unfortunately, it's quite possible nothing will happen until November, and hopefully in November we'll have an opportunity to dismiss some of his supporters and bring in a few more people who are interested in serving the needs of the taxpayers of Illinois. But we don't know. Mm-hmm. Mr. Madigan does have a serious primary opponent, and as you know, the primary is March 15th, so that's coming up pretty soon. My guess is that Mr. Madigan is going to win that primary and, of course, be reelected. But maybe after the primary is over, we will see some willingness to compromise. I don't know if that's the case, but I've at least got my fingers crossed. If not, we're going to probably go to November, and hopefully the voters can send a message to Mr. Madigan.
Analysts project Illinois state retirement systems are going to need $131 billion to cover the pension benefits, and there's only $46 billion in the bank. The Illinois Constitution guarantees that once earned, pension benefits, can't be diminished or impaired. What is the answer? How do we move forward? The way we're going right now, it's unsustainable.
Well, clearly, we have to stop making the situation worse. There's an old saying that when you're in a hole, stop digging. And we're in a hole. We've got to stop digging. It appears that the Illinois Supreme Court is not going to allow any changes to benefits that have already been accrued. But we have to stop accruing more benefits, and that's a part of what the governor is trying to do right now with the contract negotiations that are going on with AFSCME. He's reached agreements with, I believe, 17 other unions, but AFSCME is the big dog that represents the majority. His proposal, I think, is very reasonable. As you pointed out, Illinois workers are among the best paid in the nation, and he's proposed essentially a wage freeze, but providing some incentive bonuses for people who do a good job. He's offered on the medical benefit side a choice. You can keep the extremely attractive Cadillac medical benefit plan that you have, but you're going to have to pay a little bit more for it, or you can continue to pay what you're paying right now, but you're going to end up with a lesser benefit package, much like the rest of the working force of Illinois has.
How do you feel about a member of the General Assembly working for a local government at the same time while they're serving in office and then receiving two pensions?
Well, obviously that creates some severe conflicts of interest, and I will tell you that I have filed legislation just a week or two ago that would end defined benefit plans for Illinois legislators. You would allow a 401k type plan that people could contribute to, so they do have the opportunity to build some additional retirement savings, but primarily that would be their own funding as opposed to taxpayers paying for it. I think that makes all kinds of sense. Legislators are supposed to be a partial job, a temporary job, a part-time job, there's no reason that we should be entitled to lavish pension benefits that are being accrued right now. And in fact, as my own statement, I have declined or refused to take an Illinois pension.
I speak with a lot of Illinoisans, as you can imagine, about property taxes, and they're furious about a lot of things. And I want to find out how you feel about a school superintendent making $250,000 a year, over $300,000 with Cadillac benefits, retiring, then collecting a pension, and then going to work for another school district, and then in the future will earn two high pensions during retirement. Well,
it's crazy. Obviously, we need to make changes in how our pension system works. But to be honest with you, I was not aware that they could go and earn another state pension. That seems, if it isn't prohibited right now, it certainly should be. And I thought that it was prohibited right now, but perhaps you're telling me it's not.
Well, there's some superintendents that have retired from Illinois. Now they're working in another state as a superintendent, making a high salary, collecting an Illinois pension, and now they're going to collect another pension in the other state. This is Brad Hayes. We'll be right back after this commercial break.